You against you. Read that again. Not the world against you, not your parents, not your haters, not the economy, not bad luck. It is you against you. And until you understand this, you will keep losing the same battle every single day. The hardest battle a man will ever fight is not in the streets, not in business, not in competition. The hardest battle is the one that happens in silence, inside your own head, when no one is watching, when excuses feel comfortable, when weakness pretends to be logic. Most men don't lose because they are incapable. They lose because they are undisciplined, unfocused, and addicted to comfort. They wake up tired, scroll their phones, blame circumstances, and call it real life. But here's the brutal truth no one wants to tell you. Life doesn't care how you feel. Money doesn't care about your emotions. Success doesn't respond to motivation. It only responds to action, consistency, and sacrifice. If you are broke, distracted, overweight, mentally weak, or stuck, there is one common factor in every failure story: you allowed it. This is not an insult. This is power. Because the moment you accept that you are the problem, you also become the solution. Most men want easy wins. They want shortcuts. They want validation without discipline and rewards without responsibility. That mindset is why average lives stay average. A real man understands that growth hurts, pressure builds diamonds, and comfort is the enemy. The world is not designed to make you strong. It is designed to test you. Every distraction is a test. Every excuse is a trap. Every moment you choose comfort over progress, you are voting against your future self. Look around. Weak men are everywhere. They complain about money but refuse to master a skill. They talk about mindset but avoid hard conversations with themselves. They say they want freedom but can't control their sleep, their diet, or their impulses. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. If you cannot control yourself, you will never control money, time, or life. The man who wins is not the most talented. He is the most relentless. He shows up when motivation disappears. He trains when no one is watching. He builds when others rest. He understands that pain is temporary, but regret lasts forever. You against you means killing the old version of yourself every single day. The lazy version, the fearful version, the version that waits for permission. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no video, no speech will change your life unless you decide to change it. Money follows value. Value follows skill. Skill follows obsession. And obsession is born when a man gets tired of being weak. You don't need confidence. Confidence is built after discipline. You don't need inspiration. Inspiration fades. You need structure, standards, and a ruthless level of self-honesty. Ask yourself this. If someone else lived your exact routine, would they become powerful or pathetic? Your habits are your future. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your results. You cannot think your way into a new life. You must act your way into it. The battle is daily. Wake up and win the morning or lose the day. Control your mind or it will control you. Either you dominate your weaknesses or they will dominate your destiny. This is the reality of manhood. No sympathy, no excuses, only results, and this is just the beginning. If you want to understand why most men stay stuck their entire lives, look at how they react to pressure. The moment life becomes difficult, they slow down. The moment money gets tight, they panic. The moment discipline demands sacrifice, they quit. That reaction right there is the reason they never escape mediocrity. Because the world rewards the man who can stay calm under pressure and dangerous under stress. You are not supposed to feel comfortable while building a powerful life. Comfort is not a signal you are winning. Comfort is a warning sign that you are stagnating. Every time you avoid discomfort, you delay growth. Every time you choose ease, you weaken your future. Money is not earned by people who hope. Money is earned by people who execute. The marketplace does not reward intention, it rewards results. You can think positive all day, but if your skills are weak, your income will reflect it. If your focus is scattered, your life will be chaotic. If your standards are low, your outcomes will be lower. You shows up most clearly when it's time to do the boring work, the repetitive work, the work that no one claps for. This is where weak men fall apart. They want excitement. They want fast results. They want external motivation. Strong men understand that mastery is built in silence. They understand that obsession beats talent when talent lacks discipline. Look at your daily routine. That routine is either building a weapon or digging a grave. There is no neutral. Every habit compounds. Every wasted hour is an investment in regret. You say you want money, but you treat time like it's unlimited. Time is the most expensive currency you will ever spend, and most men waste it like it has no value. The hardest truth about mindset is this: nobody owes you understanding. Nobody owes you opportunity. The world owes you nothing. Once you accept that, you become free. Free from expectation, free from disappointment, free to focus. And focus is where power is born. The man who wins financially is not the smartest. He is the one who can delay gratification the longest. He can say no to parties, no to distractions, no to short-term pleasure in exchange for long-term dominance. Most men want balance. Balance is for people who already won. When you are building, imbalance is required. Obsession is required. Sacrifice is required. This is where you against you becomes violent, because your old habits will fight back. Your friends will question you. Your comfort zone will scream. Your ND will negotiate. And you must say no over and over again until discipline becomes identity, until effort becomes automatic, until excellence becomes normal. Money follows clarity. Clarity comes from eliminating noise. If your life is loud, your progress will be slow. Cut distractions, reduce inputs, control your environment, build a life that forces you to win. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Systems win wars. Structure beats emotion. If you cannot control your schedule, you will never control your income. If you cannot control your thoughts, you will never control your future. The man who understands this early dominates quietly later, and the man who ignores it spends his life explaining why things never worked out. This is not about luck. This is about responsibility. And responsibility is heavy. That's why weak men drop it. Here is where most men completely misunderstand money, power, and self-worth. They think confidence creates results. That is backwards. Results create confidence, and results only come from repeated uncomfortable action. A man who has not built discipline has no real self-worth, only fragile ego. That ego shatters the moment reality hits. You against you becomes dangerous when you realize that your bank account is not just a number, it is a reflection of your mindset, your habits, your standards, and your tolerance for discomfort. Money does not change you. Money exposes you. If you are lazy, money makes you reckless. If you are weak, money makes you arrogant. If you're disciplined, money makes you unstoppable. That is why chasing money without fixing yourself first always ends badly. Most men want to feel important before they become valuable. That is why they talk more than they build. They post more than they practice. They want respect without earning it. Respect is rented, not gifted, and the rent is paid daily in effort. The hardest part of the you against you battle is killing the fantasy version of success. The fantasy where it happens fast, where it happens easily, where it happens without sacrifice. That fantasy keeps men broke longer than failure ever could. Because failure teaches, fantasy distracts. A man who wins understands delayed rewards. He understands that no one sees the nights he stayed focused, the mornings he trained tired, the days he worked without recognition. But those invisible days are what create visible dominance later. You cannot skip the process and keep the outcome. The process is the price. Identity is not what you say you are. Identity is what you do when no one is watching. If you say you are disciplined but sleep late, you are lying. If you say you are ambitious but avoid hard tasks, you are lying. Truth is brutal, but truth builds killers. Once you align your actions with your goals, your mind follows, not before. Men wait to feel ready. Winners act unready and let pressure shape them. This is how self-worth is built, not through affirmations, but through PR. Proof. Proof that you kept promises to yourself. Proof that you did the work even when you didn't want to. Proof that you chose growth over comfort consistently. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your weakest enemy. If you allow negative thought patterns, victim narratives, and emotional weakness to live rent-free in your head, you will never dominate externally. Mental strength is trained the same way physical strength is trained. Resistance, repetition, recovery. Pressure is not punishment. Pressure is preparation. Every hard phase is forging you into something sharper. Weak men avoid pressure. Strong men seek it. They understand that comfort creates fragility, and fragility breaks under real-world force. You against you means becoming brutally honest about your limitations and then attacking them daily. It means upgrading your environment, your circle, and your standards without apology. Growth will isolate you before it elevates you. And that isolation is not loneliness. It is separation from weakness. Once you understand this, you stop chasing approval and start building power. And power attracts everything you used to beg for. Here is the phase where most men quit and tell themselves a comfortable lie. This is the lonely phase. The phase where results are not visible yet, but the effort is real. The phase where your old life no longer fits you, but your new life hasn't fully arrived. This is where you becomes psychological warfare. Your mind will whiz. Heard that you're doing too much, that you deserve rest, that you're missing out. That voice is not wisdom. That voice is weakness trying to survive. Obsession is misunderstood because average people fear it. They call it unhealthy because it exposes their lack of commitment. Obsession is not chaos. Obsession is clarity with intensity. Obsession is deciding that one goal matters more than distractions, more than opinions, more than comfort. Every man who has built something meaningful went through a period where his focus looked extreme to outsiders. They didn't see the vision, so they judged the sacrifice. That judgment is the tax you pay for ambition. Loneliness is not a punishment. Loneliness is proof that you are evolving. When you level up, you automatically disconnect from people who are comfortable staying the same. And that separation hurts, but stagnation hurts more. Pain is the currency of transformation. You either pay it up front through discipline or pay it later through regret. There's no third option. Strong men choose pain with purpose. Weak men accept pain without progress. The elite mindset understands this simple truth. Suffering is inevitable, but suffering without direction is pointless. When you suffer with intention, you become dangerous. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this building in me? Obsession sharpens your instincts. It forces you to cut unnecessary conversations, pointless entertainment, and energy-draining relationships. Your life becomes quiet but powerful. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is focus, and focus multiplies force. The world is noisy because most people are lost. The man who knows exactly what he wants moves differently. He doesn't argue. He doesn't explain. He executes. The you against you battle reaches a new level when you stop negotiating with your weaknesses. No more just this once. No more exceptions. Standards are standards precisely because they don't bend. Discipline is not about punishment. Discipline is about freedom. The freedom to choose your future instead of reacting to your present. Every time you override your excuses, you strengthen your authority over yourself. And self-authority is the foundation of leadership, wealth, and respect. The elite do not wait for permission to become great. They decide, commit, and endure. They understand that being misunderstood is part of being ahead. When the results finally show up, the same people who doubted you will call it luck. Let them. You'll know the truth. The truth is that obsession carried you through pain, isolation, and uncertainty. And on the other side of that tunnel is a man who no longer questions his power. This is where everything becomes real. Not emotional, not motivational, real. Because power is not built in speeches, it is built in repetition. The difference between men who talk and men who dominate is execution. Every single day. Without drama, without mood, without excuses. You against you is no longer a concept here. It becomes a routine. You wake up and the war starts immediately. Do you obey your comfort or do you obey your standards? There is no neutral ground. Every morning, you either reinforce weakness or you sharpen discipline. Momentum is not created by big moments. Momentum is created by boring consistency done aggressively over time. Weak men wait for perfect conditions. Strong men create pressure and adapt. Habits are silent architects of your future. What you do daily matters more than what you dream occasionally. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your habits. That's why most men keep repeating the same year over and over and call it life. The elite understands that motivation is unreliable, but systems are ruthless. You don't need to feel ready to execute. You need rules that force you to act regardless of emotion. This is where identity locks in. You no longer ask yourself if you feel like doing the work. You ask yourself who you are, and the man you are does not negotiate with weakness. Execution builds confidence. Confidence builds speed. Speed builds dominance. Momentum is dangerous because once it starts, it is hard to stop. That's why most people sabotage themselves right before progress compounds. They get uncomfortable with growth. They fear outgrowing their old identity. So they slow down. They hesitate. They relapse. Elite men do the opposite. When momentum starts, they double down. They protect their focus like their life depends on it, because in a way, it does. Distractions are not harmless. Distractions are thieves. They steal time, energy, and clarity. Every hour wasted is momentum lost. Every broken promise to yourself weakens trust internally. And without self-trust, you cannot lead yourself, let alone others. The daily war is simple but brutal. Sleep discipline, physical training, skill development, financial focus, mental control, no excuses, no shortcuts, no emotional loopholes. You win small battles consistently, and eventually the war is already decided. This is how men become unstoppable without noise. They don't announce their grind. They don't seek applause. They let results speak in a language everyone understands. You against you becomes automatic here. Weak impulses still show up, but they no longer have authority. Discipline is now instinct. Execution is now identity. And once execution becomes who you are, success stops being a goal and starts being a byproduct. At this level, something changes inside you. You stop chasing outcomes and start controlling inputs. You stop reacting emotionally and start moving strategically. Power is not loud. Power is calm. Power is knowing that no matter what happens externally, you can adapt, endure, and dominate internally. You against you now becomes a matter of control. Control over emotion. Control over reaction. Control over ego. Weak men are ruled by their feelings. Strong men use feelings as data, not commands. Detachment is misunderstood as coldness, but detachment is actually clarity. When you are detached from validation, you become immune to manipulation. When you are detached from instant gratification, you gain long-term leverage. When you are detached from fear, you move faster than everyone else. Leadership starts here, not leadership over others, but leadership over yourself. If you cannot command your own impulses, your own time, your own attention, you are not free. And freedom is the highest form of wealth. Most men think leadership is about being followed. Real leadership is about being consistent when no one is watching, about holding standards even when breaking them would be easier, about choosing long-term respect over short-term pleasure. The man who reaches this stage no longer needs motivation. He understands the cost of failure too clearly. He has seen what weakness produces. He has lived the consequences of distraction, and he refuses to go back. Pressure no longer scares him. Pressure sharpens him. Stress no longer overwhelms him. Stress organizes him. Chaos no longer confuses him. Chaos reveals who is prepared and who is pretending. You against you at this level is subtle but deadly. It's in the small decisions, the extra rep, the extra hour, the disciplined response instead of the emotional reaction. These small victories stack quietly until the gap between you and the average man becomes impossible to ignore. This is where respect changes. People feel it before they understand it. You don't need to announce strength. It leaks through your posture, your voice, your decisions. You move with intent. You speak with precision. You act without hesitation. Detachment also means you stop needing approval from people who don't live your life. Opinions lose weight. Excuses lose power. Only results matter. Only progress counts. This is where men become dangerous in the best way possible. Calm, focused, unshakable. And once you reach this point, there's only one thing left to do. Never let yourself forget where weakness leads. This is where the line is crossed and there is no going back. This is the moment a man decides that weakness is no longer an option. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, you against you ends here because you finally understand that the fight was never meant to be fair. You stop romanticizing struggle and start respecting discipline. You stop asking how long it will take and start asking how hard you are willing to push. Legacy is not built by men who try. Legacy is built by men who decide. Decide their standards, decide their limits, decide their future, and then live in alignment with those decisions regardless of cost. The world does not remember comfort. The world remembers dominance, consistency, and results. You are not here to fit in. You are here to build something undeniable. Every day from this point forward is a vote for the man you are becoming. Every action either reinforces strength or invites weakness back in. There is no middle ground. Once you have tasted discipline, comfort will feel disgusting. Once you have built momentum, excuses will feel embarrassing. Once you have proven to yourself that you can endure, fear will lose its grip. This is the final truth. No one is coming to give you permission. No one is coming to validate your sacrifice. And no one is coming to save you from your own potential. That responsibility is yours. And that responsibility is power. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need approval. You need standards so high that weakness can't survive near you. You need a routine that forces progress. You need a mindset that treats pain as fuel and pressure as preparation. From here on, you move forward with intent. You train even when tired. You work even when bored. You stay disciplined even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. This is how men separate themselves permanently, not through talent, not through luck, but through relentless self-control and unbreakable standards. The battle of you against you is won the moment you stop negotiating and start commanding. Commanding your time, commanding your body, commanding your mind. And once you do, life stops pushing back because it finally recognizes that you are not the man who folds. You are the man who endures, adapts, and dominates. This is not motivation. This is instruction. Live by it or stay average forever. Fight was never meant to be fair. You stop romanticizing struggle and start respecting discipline. You stop asking how long it will take and start asking how hard you are willing to push. Legacy is not built by men who try. Legacy is built by men who decide. Decide their standards, decide their limits, decide their future, and then live in alignment with those decisions regardless of cost. The world does not remember comfort. The world remembers dominance, consistency, and results. You are not here to fit in. You are here to build something undeniable. Every day